New. My name's Corey, and my name's Corey Thorne, and I am a spiritual teacher, an emotional spiritual consultant, and a mystic, and everything else in between. And I am an author, a creator of More Than Existing, and I'm just waiting to see who we have and waiting for the room to fill up. I work with energy, and that's what I do. So that's for anyone who's new. For anyone else, you know who I am and you know what I do. Hi, Pat, and hi, Tracy. I am live. Okay. Felicia, hello. I'm just waiting to see who I have and where everybody is. And hello, Lorene and Kevin and Ashley. Hi, and Sue. Hello. Yeah, it's been a long time, Sue, since I've seen you in here. Hello, Tracy and Roberta, Natasha, Jackie. Hello. So I just want to come in today. I said I was going to try Tuesdays. I think today is Tuesday. I got a lot going on. I was actually right. Hey, Jaden. I was right in the middle of setting up my office. So I'm working on my office right now. So next time you see me in a live, I will be out of the living room and finally getting myself an office. Yeah, lots of weird energy this week. Yes, Jaden, it has been a long time. It's been a while. Hello, Edie. And Claire, hi. The number 11. Yeah, 1111 is one of my numbers. Trying to keep everything together. Yes, sometimes it's definitely hard. Well, I hope this helps today a little bit. This is going to be about the new moon. Today we are in new moon energy. Yesterday we were in new moon energy. Today we're in new moon energy. So we have some new moon energy that's happening today, some shifts that's happening, and it's the Chinese New Year. So this is a shift in it runs kind of by the lunar, I think it is, by the lunar calendar. And so this is a shift this year, or a change now into the year of the tiger. So Chinese astrology now goes into the year of the tiger. If you've never done your Chinese astrology, I'm telling you, they are like so accurate to describing us and the essence of how we respond emotionally in the world. I don't know if I'll be doing personal cards today. I'll see. I'm gonna do the pull and see what we get, and I'll see from there because I'm working on my office. I was working all day. I'm with clients all day, and so then I'm trying to get my office put together. So I've just bought a day bed and putting a day bed in there, so I still got some room, and trying to make room for my desk, and I need my own space again. So I'm finding my own space, creating my space in this house. And I'm going to talk a little bit about creating your space today, a little bit as well. Because I always say one thing that I've been really working on in a lot of my writings and a lot of my work is about being a visitor in your own life. Like you are the temple, you are the castle, like the essence of what exists within you, and the foundation, and building the strong foundation. And often we're a visitor in our own space. Like we're visiting ourselves. We come, we go, we get caught up in the material world. We forget to stay in our own world. We get lost. And then we get so tied up and caught up in everything else. And so a lot of my home and my house was, when we moved here, we created it so that it was, so if company came, and we created like lots of the spare bedrooms and the things for, places for people to see. And during the summer, there's a lot of people that visit. But during the fall and winter, like now, there's like all this space in your house and nobody's using it. Like nobody's in that space. And so here I am walking around the house thinking, how do you got to make yourself fit into your own space. So you have to create this to make you comfortable. So it's the same thing with creating a house, and, you could get so busy in designing and making it look good, and then you're always running out, or you hate being home alone, or you hate, you're always trying to move stuff around and move furniture around and make things fit. Well, that is that's us. And so within us is the essence of when you start to create a home within the home, when you start to build that relationship with you create a home within the home. You start to create a space within you where you're not just a visitor. You're not a foreigner to yourself. You're not escaping you anymore. when you're always trying to escape you, or you're trying to reinvent yourself into something you're not, you're never going to find that happiness, that peace, and that contentment. You have to look around at you. You have to look at what you got to work with, and you have to look with, how limited am I thinking in the way that I am choosing to live? Like, have I been so disliking and so angry at myself that I'm just like not really making myself home here within me? Am I still relying upon the material world to create my happiness? Am I still waking up every morning and going out and reading? So just say, for example, if one general horoscope says you're going to have a shitty day, you go create a shitty day. And then you're so far away from yourself because you're caught up in the mental mind of what you just seen, so what your subconscious got fed, and then you're lost. And then you're outside in the world. And so when you bring it back into you and you come back into you, is that you start to create space for you within you. You make space in your own life for you. So you start to do things that are for you. You make space for you in your home. You make time for you in your day. There's nothing any more important than making time for you in your day. And that means taking care of you. That means taking care of your emotional needs, your mental needs, your physical needs, making sure that you fit within your own life, that you belong in your day. So when you're always escaping you by distracting from everything else, you wonder why you start to go downhill, why you start to lose yourself. And part of that is also about you believe the things that people tell you you are. And so you live up to the legacy of what people tell you are. If people say, you're so miserable, you're so grumpy, you're so this, you're so that. And so you become that. And that's why when I meet people, I always say this to people. It's like, I don't live by your labels, right? It's like, I talk to your soul. I talk to your spirit. That's what I'm here to do. It's like, I'm not going to call you by, you say, I have ADHD, or I have this, or I have that. I'm like, that's not what I see. That's not what I'm here to see. So if you live up to your legacy of how people label you, or how you label yourself, or how you identify by that, then that limits the possibility that you're so much more than that. So then you'll search for every reason to live within the parameters and live within that energy of what you are. But where did that come from, and how much of that is tied into the belief systems that we believe about ourselves? That's part of what I'm teaching. That's part of what I'm doing in the spiritual detox right now and the reset. Because that's a huge part of how we get lost, how we're not living within ourselves. That it's just like not honoring our sadness, not honoring our grief, not honoring those things. Allow yourself to acknowledge it and just say, it is visiting me. So emotions are visitors. Emotions are visitor. But your center, your heart, your whole self, that's the solid foundation of you. And so the soul, that soul essence of you, that's the solid foundation of you. The emotions, the stories, the judgment, the criticism, all of those things, they're all visitors. I see you, I acknowledge you, I know you're there. I will sit with you, I'll talk with you, I'll figure out why you're here, what's going on. And then it'll be time to move forward, to move into a next moment, the next day, or whatever it may be. But it's not the truth of you. It is not who you are. It is what you are existing within and what you're experiencing. And so, my whole thing was, I had a smaller house before, and I had a lot of room for me, and then I had no room for me. Well, that kind of became my whole life too. I had no room left for me again. I was back working very hard. I was back trying to get everything done, trying to create everything to make sure I get all of this work out to be present. And then before you know it, there's no room for you again. There's no room within you. So it's like if you got room within you, if you make space within you, then you don't have so much of the not true self that is owning and claiming so much space within you. Because it is the frustration, it's the fear stories, it's the continual stories you tell yourself. It's the past that is still activated and reactivated and living within you each and every moment of each and every day. That is like, and so it's like that takes up that much extra space. And all this is coming up because we're in this new moon energy today. And we're in a big shift. And so, how do we setting intentions that are for us to start to come into a making space inside in our own self for us would be a big way to set an intention today. A good way to start. Hello, everyone else who's joining. I had to get that message out because that message was just channeled for you. Hello, hello, hello. And so I hope this message today really, really resonates with a lot of people. I really do. Because these messages really, truly come by me getting into the energy. Hello, my sweet little RJ. And Corey loves you. And so when you look at yourself, Suzanne, I just jumped onto live. If there's one thing that I heard, it was, can you believe there is darkness in paradise? Yeah, right. There, yes. Yes. So Suzanne, I really want to acknowledge that for you. So within us, so I'm sitting with Suzanne's comment for a moment here. And so one thing I want to say about this is that within us, we all have light and dark, right? We all have, and then in our lives, in our fated experiences or other people's fated experiences that intertwine into our lives, and those connections that we have with those that we love and those that we have to intertwine in relationship to, is that we also then become a part of their stories. And so we get caught in that energy. Thank you, sweet little RJ. And so we get caught in those, we get caught in the webs of all of those energies. And that's not to neglect the real stories behind them, but that's just to say, like, we intertwine, right? So we get locked into this energy. And so no matter where we go, no matter what you can move houses, like physical houses, you can move towns, you can move cities, you can move whatever you want to try to find happiness. You can jump into new relationships and just walk away from other things. But as long as you are existing in the same stories, you will not be able to be in that light. All you're doing is you're taking all of this with you into a new experience. And our essence of why we're here and what we learn from spirit and what we learn from our loved ones is that, yes, we have to exist within our hurts and within our grief, but they want us to live for them. So embodying the spirit of a loved one is to know that they are all light and they are all love. And to give your soul and their soul essence the beautiful experience is to come into our hearts. And yes, it's not easy. I'm not going to say this is an easy journey. Right? So Suzanne, I'm telling you, it is there. Happiness is there. And not saying it's going to discount the grief. Not saying that, because that's not going. It's like, but who am I on this side of the grief, right? Like, who can I become to live for Sebastian and to also live for, live in the essence of he lives in his siblings. He lives in the essence of, in the eyes of his siblings. He lives experiencing life. So if he is all light and he is all love, that's ultimately what he is trying to show you in paradise. It's like finding God consciousness, like the essence of that angelic energy everywhere, and breathing into it. And until we breathe into it and breathe it into us and release and surrender over some of those, bit by bit, the light starts to replace the darkness. The more that we let that light come on within us, the more that we can let go. So there's levels of of release, surrender, forgiveness, all of those things that we have to start a process and find our way into the process to be able to surrender. Because the more we hold on, the more life will hurt, right? And so you're here, we're all here to learn the power of creating heaven on earth. And that's what our loved ones are trying to do. They're just saying, while you are here, you're not here to create even, you still have beautiful things in your world. And you have beautiful things to live with and beautiful, beautiful essences to embrace and enjoy. And those beautiful things also deserve to have beautiful experiences, right? And so it's about us creating those beautiful experiences and creating this essence of what is within me and who am I on the inside that can truly, with this beautiful light that now illuminates a new part of me, a new essence. How can I use this now to be the light in the world, to be a spokesperson, to be a voice, to be whatever I need to be to bring joy into the areas within my personal life. Finding that essence of that light everywhere in the sky, through the rainbows, through the water. Spirit is so big. Spirit is huge. And as are we. And so all the synchronicities, all the signs, all of those things are all these moments that they're trying to get you to go, oh my God, you're there. And whatever somebody else is choosing to do, that's going to have to be their journey. But when you start to embody this light inside of you, when you start to step into that place of letting this light illuminate and light up within you, it starts to change something for you. It starts to change that essence. I want to feel more happiness. So if I want to feel more happiness, we got to get that sense of sending that feeling of happiness forward and then get a desire in your heart to find that happiness and not to let yourself be feeling like I'm not allowed or I shouldn't be or I can't. It's like, I need to do this. And I need to bring that happiness because I want to feel more of that. And however that's going to unfold. And so setting an intention and not saying, I want the world to give me happiness, by putting that concrete in and saying, I'm making a choice. I am making a choice now to seek more of this happiness. To seek more of this. And then ask the Spirit, ask Sebastian to guide me to happiness. Mama needs your help now. I need your help. I need your support. I need you now to step into me, step into my heart, step into my energy and light me up. Light me up. Help me heal. Help me heal to this new place, into this new energy. Let me be your voice. Let me be what I can be for you. And it'll be amazing what can unfold for you. It truly will. But you got to set that intention. Got to set that intention. You're worthy and deserving of that life. And He will follow you everywhere. That's what you're experiencing, that kind of energy that we're just talking about a few moments ago, Jade, right? Yeah. Yes, exactly, Suzanne. Thank you for stopping. See, you came for a reason today. See where Sebastian led you today? I love that. Yeah. Thank you for showing up today, Suzanne. And Sue, yes, it's the toughest journey. It is so tough, right? There's no out, right? There's no getting out of the journey. And it's being kind and compassionate to yourself. Care enough to care for you and stop trying to distract from what you need to feel. It's not about filling up the world. It's like everybody trying to make you comfortable, trying to do things to make you comfortable. Well, nobody can do that for you, right? There's that essence of, and by being, the angers and those type of energies, they just take away. What that does, it takes away from your experience of being able to experience. And I mean, that's one of the stages. Angers is one of the stages, right? But your experience through grief is knowing you'll have to walk through the fire. And I would say, when you're angry, go to dollar store and buy some cheap plates and freaking smash the plates. Get a big tire with one of those kids' plastic bats and take it outside and just like beat the tire or something. Like, just let out that energy, because that's visitors, right? These are things that are visiting us because we're walking through these experiences. And when you can let it out of you, it helps to be able to shift and change. It's a release. You don't hold it in. So being empty inside, yeah, because it's never you can't replace that space. Hello, Melissa. You can't replace that space. That space is now, that space within you it's like setting up your own little shrine within you. Right? Yes, Claire, it's perfect ideas, right? Because then you're letting your emotions out. You've got to find an outlet to know that the emotions are visitors and that to release them. Don't lay them out on somebody else. It's not about blaming somebody else. It's not about getting caught up or being angry it's about where and how we can release them from us. And so knowing full well that we can do that, we gotta be able to work through this. Emotions are not there to harm us. That's not what emotions are about. Emotions allow us to know that we're about to hit this trigger, right? We're about to hit the space that it's saying, this is like a gauge. And it's saying, I'm right here. I'm right at this moment. If I cross this point, if I cross here, then I'm going to be lost in this whole energy. I'm going to be just, but if I come right here and I acknowledge the emotions, then the emotions are there to help be like a regulator for us. But when we learn to channel through the emotions correctly, instead of those, passing the line, right? Just bursting through. It is like seeing the danger signs, and then you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to push the gas and I'm just going to go through it, right? It's like, no, it's going to stop right here. What do I need to acknowledge? Right? And so, yeah, so you don't know life without him. But so let me get back to this one, Sue. So there's that empty space, which can't be replaced. So there's no replacing that. But what can I start to place within my own life? Because it's now you coming into relationship with you. So this is about you, acknowledging that experience and nurturing you. How can I nurture me during this experience of what I'm going through? This could be so much as sitting on when you're feeling sad, acknowledging the sadness, taking a blanket and wrapping the blanket around you. And I mean wrapping it around tight. Cuddle into the blanket and just let yourself cry out the experience or whatever it is, because then what you're doing is you're loving you. This is one of mine. This is mine. And it wasn't mine. This was actually my partner's. And he bought it home. And so my dogs sleep on it. And I use this when I'm doing healing sessions with people. And I'm holding this. So when I'm holding this and I'm doing healing person, his name is Duncan. This is Duncan. And so Sid, my little Yorkie, sleeps on it. But what I do is, like, when I'm doing healing sessions for people, is I acknowledge this to be your body. And so I will work with the hands, through the heart, through the throat, through the head. And then, if I'm experiencing my sadness, when my sadness comes back, and I suffer like SADS, seasonal disorder. And so what I do is I take this and I wrap it in and I hold it. And I spend a lot of time alone because my husband is a trucker on the road. And so I hold it and I acknowledge it. And this here, what this does for your body, Sue, is this touches your body. Your body has muscle memories. So it remembers being held. It remembers being loved. It remembers being comforted. So what you're doing is you are providing it an experience of being comforted. And so this then allows the whole body to calm, and the body will relax. Yes, Stacy did this with Reed's teddy bear, with her son. And so Stacy did this with his teddy, and it helped her. It makes a difference, right? And so hold it, and and so energy transfers, because ultimately his spirit is with that bear, because his spirit is wrapping around you. So it's about your body has memory. It's not just your mind, it's that your body's remembering, and then your nerves, your neurological system is connecting to it. You still do? Yeah. Why not, right? And it's like, exactly, like I make sure that I do these things because it connects you, and it's able to calm the emotions, right? So then you're not getting lost. It actually stops your mind from overthinking and get you there. So yeah, so you hug his pillow every night. So then on your couch, place yourself a blanket or something like that, somewhere wherever you are, where you can do this, and just sit with it. It makes a huge difference. Things you needed to hear as well, Claire? Yeah. Emotions are at an all-time high. And and the thing is that we have an emotional and spiritual immature government. We have a spiritual and emotional immature media. We have the sense of triggering, because how do we get people to do what we want them to do? Fight or flight. And so when we exist in a fight or flight energy, we are triggering these responses. When the world wants, the whole plan is to turn people against each other. It just is. And it's like, it's a cruel, cruel joke, that it's a cruel, cruel thing that's being done to society instead of bringing society together. And so we're dealing with that. So it's like we have emotions running on high. What's the best thing to do? Turn it all off. Turn it all off and come back into what really matters to us. What matters in our little community, what matters in our family, what matters in our space, because fight or flight is the absolute that gets you're already running on high. You're being triggered because every time those triggers come up, every time you hear one word or one thought or one person's name or something, it's like blah, right? And then everybody just goes. As you can see, like, here's my living room. There is no TV. I don't have a TV. We have one in our room like in our living room downstairs. But in my main living room, where we eat, where we gather, where company comes, nobody gets to sit and watch news with each other. Nobody gets to sit and watch social media with each other. We don't have any of that stuff. So when people come to visit, you engage in just engaging with each other, because that clears out a lot of it gives people a place to be in a safe environment, right? And so to do that, as I'm still sitting with Duncan, I'm still hugging Duncan. And so that gives you an opportunity to sit, because emotions are high. And this is, for us to be able to fuse is, first of all, we need maturity. We need this sense of being to be up and above, and to be honest and to be truthful, and that means to ourselves. So what the world is not going to give us, we have to give to ourselves. We really do. We have to give to ourselves. We have to start giving to us and really truly trusting our own intuition, which means we got to get back to our instinctual self, knowing that if we can calm ourselves by removing all of these other things out of the way, and just being where we need to be, doing what we need to do for us, and then we can be not so responsive from that fight or flight space into the world. I cut up pillows and never thought of this, right? Yeah. Yeah, and just get that bear and just cuddle in. You are so welcome, Sue, because it's the body, because you miss so many interactions of like vocal, eyesight, like being able to see with your eyes, being able to connect, being able to have all of those things that would give you the comfort, right? So finding some sort of comfort so that you can acknowledge your experiences that way. We subscribe to Netflix and Prime, no TV, right? Yeah, we listen to music on there as well. Yeah, that's us. Like, it's music. Our house is music. That's another beautiful thing to help is music. Music rises your vibration. 3 years tomorrow. So yes. So you're in the middle of that grieving. Not that grieving ever really goes, it's not that it goes away, but there's this turning point or this change in energy or these shift. I would say it's like phases, right? Like there's these stages that we go through. And then you may be having like a really good week and then boom, one thing triggers you or something happens. And it's like, it's just back to day one again. And so it's, it's acknowledging your grief and caring enough to care about you through all of this. Having compassion for you and caring about you through all of this really, truly makes a difference. And having a good support system and grief counseling. I swear by grief counseling, those type of things. And I'll say this, and I always say this, you should always have a good team. You should always have that good team that is there for you through all these experiences. Yeah, it comes in waves, right? You're riding the wave and there's no real way out. And you can be around 100 people who are also going through loss, but you have to remember, nobody can walk your experience for you and nobody's in your experience for you. Nobody can, you can compare stories, but we all have to walk our own journey and nobody else can walk it for us. It's our journeys, right? And we have to walk. Even if you're all in the same house, every person's relationship with that grief is going to be different. How we cope, and so it is somewhat of a lonely journey, but also knowing that we can't find a grief counselor in this area. That's sad. That's so sad. Well, I hope coming in here at least helps you. And I'm trying to get back up. I've had my own grief. I've had my own sense of losing myself and being really truly being lost in some ways. Grown men to know that work isn't life. It's like not a real thing for half these men. It makes it hard. Yes, to know that work isn't life. It's not a real thing for half these men. Yes, exactly right. And so some of that is acknowledgement of. So some of that, Jane, is actually acknowledgement of old beliefs or old patterns and the way things were, or that a man needs to be this way and a man needs to be that way, and it's like this is what the responsibility of a man is. So taking that back to each individual person that you meet, not a clump, not to cluster it together, but if you look at each and every individual person, what were they told as children or young, or when were they, somewhere like you're a man now, you've hit this age, or you lose a parent and say you're the man of the house, or you have to be a man, or you get married and you have children. It's like you're the man now. It's your responsibility. This is yours. This is what you have to do. So with that then comes resentment. With that then comes also this sense of urgency or fear or guilt, like you're always on edge of feeling like you have to be something. Or you always have to be somebody. And it's the same thing, then take it to the female side of us, and then in the female side of us. And so we all have the masculine, feminine energy, right? And so if you felt like you had to be this or you had to be that, or, so when you meet people and we see their behaviors or we see their patterns, I'm willing to bet most times you can trace it back. You can trace it back to this is something all the way back to childhood or to an old belief system, the old ways, like it's conditioned, right? So changing the conditioning takes time, but it takes kind of one person to be courageous enough sometimes to be a part of that change. So to break the cycles, to educate people, to speak to people and say, hey, you know what, would you like to hear about what my experiences or what I think or what I feel, or, it's like, and if they don't, you don't have to waste, you can be respectful and just say, hello, goodbye, kiss my ass, whatever. but you never know who may just be interested. Say, hey, if you want to know more, or if you want to you don't want to know my view, then let me share with you. Let me share what I've experienced or what I think, what I feel like, or what I have discovered for me. You may be a change, right? You may be that one person that gets to change that, by just saying, this is the way. And so teaching what you've learned, what you've learned from myself, from your mom, from, other people that you've also been working with, like using that, you never know. You may be the one, you may be the coach that they need in around your work, right? You may be that person. I feel like you have a call there. Yes, and Laura Lee, yes, Laura Lee's new book. So a dear friend of mine, Laura Lee Scobie, she wrote a book about after the loss of her daughter, after her daughter passed into spirit world, and it is called the new normal, I think it's called. And it's on Amazon. I will find the link and I'll share the link in here as well for Sue, for Suzanne. I think Stacy may probably, I don't know if you already got it, Stacy, but it's but she released a book, and mine is not here. I'm still waiting for mine. And so if I did, I could show you the cover. But it's it's called A New Normal is what the name of her book is. And she's a dear friend of mine. She was my Reiki master teacher way back, and being there and being with her, during that experience, and you feel, you're so helpless and just watching someone that you admire and having to walk through that experience, and there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do, only just be there, hold the space, be present, whatever it is, because no words change that. It's having to walk through that. And her book really talks about walking through the fire. And that's where I get the phrase from, because when her and I were sitting down one day and she said, there's nothing other for me to do other than walk through this fire. We're not going to be able to get out of it. We can't get out of it. You can't escape it. So we have to be here with us and stay in the now, right? Stay in the now, staying present. So staying in the present with meditations that keep you in the now, those type of things really, really help. Stay present and allowing yourselves to walk through that fire. Yes, you do. You get to go to Walmart, go anywhere and get yourself a teddy bear. Since 1986. 1986, he was your cuddle buddy, right? When my husband was killed in a car wreck, truly helped. Yes, it really does help. See, you get support just by being in here. Okay. And so I'm going to move into our new moon cards because I do have another place to be. As I'm looking over my shoulder. And so I'm just going to give us our new moon cards for today. And still does. Yes, it does. So I feel like healing is our conversation today. And so as I'm picking up the healing, I am picking up that sense of like the moment we start to click, the moment we connect with the fact that how valuable we are and the importance of healing, it's the moment we start to click. So this new moon energy is in Aquarius. And I keep saying, I feel like Aquarius is kind of like Aries. I just feel like it's like this whole experience, like Aries has been in Chiron in the wounded healer energy since 2018. And I'm telling you, I'm an Aries, and I have been in the deepest, darkest moments of my life while still rising, still while creating, still while existing. I can still function pretty damn good through a lot of challenges that comes up in phases. But it was that sense of you have to be willing to go into the depths of the darkness to find you. You got to discover that your shadows, the essence of that identity, who we think we are, we're nothing of those people. That's who we became. We became what we needed to become for survival, or who we were told to be. And then there's an essence of truth within us. So every time we're trying to escape ourselves or trying to get away from ourselves, and I hate this person that I am, I don't like this person. Well, you find yourself even grieving more of you. If the essence of the truth of you needs you. Nobody is going to love you like you need to fall in love with you, right? There's that essence of ourselves that is so deep inside. And so with that, I'm pulling 3 cards, and I'm not going to use my tarot as my full tarot tonight, but I did get the kick-ass tarot today. I even ran upstairs and got the goddess cards, which I'll use with them. But what I got was that Knight of Pentacles. And I got the Magician and I got the Six of Cups. And what they're showing me is that they're all green. So they're all green, which is bringing in the energy of Raphael, which is the healing, angelic healing energy of Raphael, and also bringing in the Jesus energy. And so this is the healer that is within us. So the Magician is coming up as that Aquarius energy, which is right here, right now. Aquarian energy is magical. It's that essence of the Magician, which is within us, the ability within us to be able to be all that we need to be, but we have to aspire to be it. But first we have to connect to who we truly are to be able to use the power of what we are. So the essence of the God will that exists within us that is greater than our free will. And nobody can take your free will. Nobody. Anything that is like oh, somebody made me do that. Somebody twisted my arms. It's like, no, nobody did that to you other than what you make a choice to sometimes do to ourselves. So just say, for example, when you say, well, I stayed in that relationship longer than I should have because, they were guilting me or they were doing this. No, you stayed because you kept hoping for a different outcome. You kept staying so that something different would happen. Right. And so then there's just this aha magical moment that just goes off and you're like, holy fuck, I got to go now. It's like it just connects. It's like igniting the flame. And so something just ignites within us. Well, that's the essence of our God will. That's the essence of the spark of light that exists within us, that we start to light up from the inside. And we start to see, it's almost like we start to see a different version or a different something. And then we just start to get it. And then we strive for that. And we keep working towards that. But if you get distracted from that, if you fall back into the cycles, then it's back around the loop again. And so the Magician's just saying, in that magical self is like, there's something greater that is existing within us, or something greater that's trying to help us right now. That is just saying, this is like a one-time, it's like we're back at a one. We're back at the beginning. So it's like, this is a beginning moment to be able to ignite something. There's something, a spark igniting within us. In the darkness of a new moon, which is in the darkness, we still know there is light. So in the darkness, there is still light. It's just waiting for something to spark the light for you to see the light. And so this Raphael, this Jesus energy, this essence of the healer that exists within us is to remember the goodness, to remember the gentleness, to remember the kindness within us, to find the good memories, to hold on to them, and to let them rise back up. And so it's the same thing, the way that in order for us to be the change in this world we want to see, is that we have to remember that we were all once much gentler and kinder, even to our neighbors, to our families, to our friends. There was something that was there. Like during this journey for me, when I took that dark night, what happened in an awakening is that you start to remember everything that you neglected or everything that you just let go or you didn't think was a big deal. It's like everything comes back up to you. So I remembered my body had a memory of being this 12-year-old that was dying in behind the mines, right? And most of that memory was blank for me for a lot of years. And then all of a sudden, everything just went, whoa. It's like all of a sudden I could remember everything. And all of a sudden I was hurt. And all of a sudden I was in pain. And all of a sudden I was like, why did everybody leave me? I would never leave everybody. And so then I went through that phase. But what it was this was memories that this was things that had been a host that had been like hanging on to me, that then you try to be more than, better than, or you try to conquer them. They're existing within you and you believe them to be part of you. But once they start to release and they let go, you remember them, but you remember them the way they were. And then you start to see them through the eyes of who you are now. And you go, well, I guess everybody was scared to freaking death and everybody ran away. So then you release it and you let it go. And then it's done. And so if it triggers somebody else by you talking about it that was in the experience, well, that's because they have their own body memories that they're remembering of it, and they're remembering their experience, and then they have to release it from them as well. So it's freeing ourselves of everything that has held us hostage, held us back, or has made us feel unworthy, unloved, not understood, not cared about, all of those things for a long time in our lives. So, it's like I ended up having to stand on a freaking, like in a courtroom and being a little kid and having to swear on the Bible to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God on this. And I remember the rocky little thing. So all of that is like now long healed, and I see it so differently now, and I see everybody so differently through the experience. But it's funny because you'll run into people years later and they expect you to be the same person that was in those experiences. So when they see you, they're like, oh, remember when? If you remember it and you remember it that strong and you feel the need to give it back to me, then that's something on you. It's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to move on, right? And so that essence of then you're not triggered by it, because before it would trigger everything and I'd be doing everything to try to explain myself or justify myself. I fucking don't know why it happened. I was a kid, and it was like all of these things that took place in our lives that have such a hold on you. Hello to there's my family coming in. To my stepmother, Miss Betty. Yes, exactly. And they're a different person too. So, but you're not a different person. You're the same person until you release those. As long as you're holding yourself hostage and somebody else is being held to that story, you're always the same people, because you're always reenacting or always still holding on to all of that. So to become light and to become this embodied in light, a big part for me was that I set an intention to ask for all of this to be released, because I could not live in the pain that I was living in. And that's the physical pain, that's the emotional pain. And I didn't want to be the angry person anymore. And I didn't want to be the person that was always trying to be the pleaser. I didn't want to be fucking sucking up. I don't care if I'm liked, and I don't care if I'm loved. I care that I care to be me, and I care deeply for everybody. My heart is larger than this world, but that sense of being a pleaser or selling yourself short just to make sure that you're liked by people, like those type of things, or that I don't have to keep spending my life apologizing for what I did at 12. Right? It's like what you did at 20, you don't have to keep punishing yourself for, and you don't have to keep apologizing for. What you did at 25, it is done. That person is long gone. That version of you is dead. Right? So when you can let that version go, and that's where that magician energy is coming in for us today, is knowing that we have everything that we need within us. We have all elements. We have the whole universe exists within us. So we're so much bigger and so much more than our emotional stories, our beliefs, our conditioning. We're so much more than all of that. Your job is to find the more. Your job is to live in the more. Your job is to build up from that within you, so that you can see things in a more unlimited way, and then release what is not yours. And that's what this new moon is bringing up for us. And to be in that, there's such magic in this beautiful Aquarian energy. Not saying that this next year is going to be easy, but dismantling the breakdown and dismantling of old things is never going to be easy. Never. It never comes, but it's the fact of knowing that if you start blueprinting, you start building before you build, then we can start seeing in our minds, like, I'm working towards like this joyful life, this happy life. But dismantling means that you have to do work. You can no longer turn a blind eye. So, this Knight of Pentacles, he's looking back, right? Like, if he's out hunting and it's like these little rabbits are there, you can't, but he's looking back. It's like he's looking over his shoulder. He's got his shield down. He's got his guard up. He's got all this. And the horse then is like in that beautiful green healing energy. So the horse is charged. The horse is sniffing up. So the horse is leading the way. So your soul, no matter what, is always leading the way. It's always ahead of you. It's always, so as much as you try to stay back, it's like that. It just keeps pushing and moving you forward and giving you the experiences that you need to help you along the way. And so knowing that we can take that energy and move forward. And then we have this beautiful Six of Cups, and this is like, all of our memories. So if we look back through our experiences and we go back through, and we can see through the eyes we are today, and we can look in at everything else that's happening, and we can look around and we can explore. If you step back into your experience, and that's a big part as a past life healer, what I do is I get people to step in third person. Don't step back in with your emotions. Step in and look at the experience from third person as if you're watching a movie. And when you do, you can see things in a different way. And so we're being told to be an observer. Moving forward with this new moon, become an observer. Become an observer of human behavior, of your own reaction, your own responses. Become an observer, because it's so easy to judge what somebody else is doing, or judge somebody else, or blame somebody else, or lay blame on somebody else. But what am I contributing? What have I contributed? Where, it's that thing of, when nobody wants to face their own shit that they've done, they will often deflect it onto somebody. They want to reflect on someone else, because like, oh, I would never have done that. I never did that. We've all, really, you never judged, you never criticized, you've never, right? And so this brings it back in and brings it back around for us. And you need all this today? Good, Melissa. And so acknowledging it and looking in on that third person view and say, I can see now how this would have happened. I can see now, I can understand this. It's the same thing as if you pick up somebody's diary and read it. I was talking about this with somebody. If you pick up someone's diary and read it, and you read their emotions, you're reading a past, and you're reading what somebody may have been experiencing in a moment, but it doesn't mean you're reading their truth. And so then it becomes your truth. You want it to be your truth. And then you let it, if you read it and then you're angry, then you're like, well, I'm so pissed off, I'm so angry. No, you're angry at yourself because, number one, you invaded space. But then you read somebody's emotional moment in the time, but it doesn't relate to the whole story, and it doesn't relate to what somebody's feeling or what somebody's sensing, or the 10,000 other conversations they may have had, or the other things that were existing around that. You're getting one little speck, and then you're basing a premises around that whole story that then allows a person to stay in that energy. So we're being told to look at experiences that way. Look at how we experience life, how we see life. I mean, my goal and my mission is to be as much light as I possibly can be, to free myself and others of any hurt or any old blames or any old things that would have left me with, any resentment, to clear that out, and to be love, to be love in this world. What we need most in this world right now is for us to be loving, for us to be kind. Yes, even get a bear made with his shirts, right? Yeah. Yes, and if not, go to Build-A-Bear and get a bear made with a heart in it. Get a bear made with a heart in it. So many things. And so that's, these are things for us to start to look at, for us to let ourselves broaden our perspectives, because a whole part of awakening and letting ourselves be honest with ourselves is to explore our stories, explore our whys of, when I look in at experiences, of past, and people say, like, sometimes like, well, why would you have stayed? It's like, because I wanted a different outcome. I wanted it to fulfill the thing of me wanting to be wanted, someone loving me, somebody needing me. I wanted to be the hero. I wanted to be the one to say, I made that, I was there, and that person became a better person because they wanted to love me, or they wanted, so they did it. It's like, even if they did, and I write that in my book, even if they did become the other person, it was never for you. And then you're left with so much anxiety. You're left with so much the anger and the angst inside of you that you're still the same person, and they've outgrown you. They've evolved beyond you. So then you're still left with all of the old resentments and all the old things, because you were so busy trying to fix that person, or trying to show them that you could be this person, that you could love them, that you were so far away from yourself and so far away from your home that you got so lost. And that could be parents, that could be anybody, that could be children. You get so far lost away from you trying to make them happy and trying to be there and trying to be that perfect person, that when they do make the changes, when that spark hits them and they get that moment, that magical moment of them finally doing the things that they need to do, chances are they're doing the steps to go this far, and you're still back here. You're still back here. And then you're not doing what you need to do for you. You're not getting where you need to be. Nothing is changing for you. You're back, you're swimming in the swamp. So they didn't change for you. They did it for them. And that's what you're supposed to do. You don't do anything for anyone else in your growth and your healing, your changing. You want to read into somebody's story and in somebody's life, you're reading a quarter of it. You think you know somebody, right? It's like you only know what you want to know, or what people want you to know, right? And that's the essence that happens. So to not be assuming, to be unassuming, and there is love in the dark. So to finish out our new moon energy is that unassuming Amara, is that, here she is. She's walking into that light. I feel like my lights just all of a sudden got like super duper bright. So she's number 13. So it's the same thing with that number 13. It's like, oh, Friday 13th is an unlucky day. It's an unlucky number. It's like 13 is an unlucky number. And that's conditioned. That's old beliefs. So then for the rest of your life, you believe that to be true, right? And so people get stuck in those old patterns and in those old ways, and they believe those things to be true. It doesn't mean they're true, and it doesn't mean it's like it's only then going to be an unlucky day because you wake up and it's an unlucky day. So when we look at Amara and we look at the unassuming of Amara, is we looking at her and it's like she has a choice to walk into her light. Here's the light. Here's her future. Here's her essence. Is she looking back over her shoulder and saying, oh, just like that Knight of Pentacles, right? Am I looking back at what somebody else thinking, what somebody else going to do, what is somebody else's opinion, or is she trusting her intuition and walking forward? Is she letting go of all of the skeptical thoughts? Is she letting go of all of the conditioning? Is she looking in and saying, I'm going to walk into my light, into my truth? I'm not going to walk into what anyone else thinks or what I think I should do for anyone else. I'm going to walk into there. And then she's, and so that what leads us to not to walk into our light and into our truth, what leads us to being those fixers, those martyrs, all those things, is those unseen wounds. So when we look at Thekla and the unseen wounds, is that, when we look in at where those unseen wounds come from, it is from those experiences of the past that may not have even been that traumatic to, if you speak of it now as an adult, but to a little child who's told, say, no, you can't do that, or no, you got to share, or whatever it may be. That child creates a story, and that child's hurt story then becomes a big snowball because the child can only comprehend it to the level of what they're capable of getting it. All right. And so then, but the adult still carries it. I was always the one who had to sacrifice. I was always the one who had to give up. So now you're always trying to get that back. You're always trying to make up for that. And then you get children and you're like, I'm not going to let my children be the way that, I'm not going to let my child miss out on life like I missed out on life and done it. And then you try to live through that child. So Thekla is be kind to you today. Be kind enough to you to be able to look back, to gain a new perspective, to see things in a new light, to explore things in a new light, to give family members names, to give, like, instead of giving them roles and assumptions on who and what they should have been, look at what they were doing, their age, what was happening, what else was going on, and to be that freedom, to be able to look into your own eyes, to be able to see through. And so this is a big part of our journey. The other card that comes up with it is love in the dark. So we have love in the dark, and this is Shyama. And love in the dark is just saying, it's like to love our shadows, to love the essence of who we were. She's not in the shadows. To be, it's like, it's not about us hating on our past, that we gotta, root us out and get us gone. Not about that, but to look back and say, you know what? My shadow has done that essence of who I was, even though I wasn't in my healthiest of forms, mentally, physically, man, she conquered a lot. Look at the good things that you did do. Look at the things you were able to accomplish. So knowing that we're able to do this Imagine, if we've been able to overcome this, even during, like, even looking into the pandemics, even looking at what we've conquered, what we've done well during these experiences, and still being in, the fight, flight, the challenges, all of those things. Imagine what we can do from a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy soul connection. Imagine what we can be from that place and how we can be that change, right? And so that's, just start imagining. If I could have done this, if I've accomplished that much from there, I thank you. I see you. I acknowledge you. But it's time for you now to go. It's now time for me to let that go. Time for me to let you go. So that I can free myself to be able to, and I would say, break up with you. Break up with you. Because you can't, if you're going to keep trying to bring the old you into here, then it's never going to be the essence of who we're supposed to be. Dismantle all and kind of build from the ground back up. That's the beauty of the journey, is that we can dismantle and rebuild. We can recreate, because the imagination is a powerful, powerful thing. And it's amazing what the imagination can bring into form that is not healthy. So imagine if we can start to change that thought and move it into something more positive. Oh, Sheila, hello, myself, Bear, and are here with Louise. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. I love you guys so very much. So very much. This is my aunts I'm talking to. 3 of my aunts. 3 powerful women. I love you, Aunt Weezy, with all of my heart. And so we're talking about new moon. We're talking about the magician. We're talking about the magic that's within us, and to just know. And so knowing where we have been, knowing the power of our journey, knowing those things, and finding the nuggets of beautiful experiences that we've had in our lives. Look at where we did have love, not where we had lack of love. So we acknowledge the lack of, or what wasn't there, or what so once we start to, it's like once you start to turn on the lights and you start to awaken, you're like, oh my God, it's like I didn't even know I even had those emotions. I didn't even know I even had those experiences. And it's like everything is like a floodgate, and everything just starts opening up. But if we let those emotions own us, then that's what leads us. And then we're leading our lives by those emotions, and we feel like, well, now that I'm awakened, I'm just going to be like this roar, angry at the world and wild and free. And it's like, no, we're here to free ourselves of it so that we can live a more peaceful life, so that we can live a more healed life, so that we can live, in this life, in a much more beautiful, healthy way, by learning the power of being kind to ourselves. And when we're kind to ourselves, we're then kinder to other people. And then we don't hold the same resentments. We don't hold on to things. And, your tomorrows are not guaranteed. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. We are not guaranteed any other moment but this moment. What we do in this moment, each and every moment, what we do in the moment is what matters the most. And only be defining yourself in that moment, because the next moment will be a new moment. Something else will have changed. Something else would have transpired. Something else would have happened. Like I said, your body holds all of these memories. Your body holds all of these muscle memories. And your body has this. So when you need to feel that comfort, you need to feel that secure, hug yourself, love yourself, feel that essence, because I can guarantee you, some in your life you had that. For me, it was my grandma and my grandfather, who's the parents of my 3 aunts that are here, and they were all love. All love. I don't know if they could have, they just were all love. They really were. And I just had, there's these experiences that I would have that came up. And I just remember my grandmother saying something to me one time when I was little. And it was like the one thing I didn't need to hear. Because I already was existing in it so much in a weight issue and a weight in my body that was, of kind of coming from my mother. And so I remember her saying, you don't need that. And that's all she said to me. You don't need that. And I took that as a kid, and I ran with that of, I can't believe that Nan of all people told me that everyone else had Vienna sausages and I shouldn't have one. I went out and ran into the clothesline pole, and I hit the clothesline pole and swallowed the whole freaking wiener. And I just looked and I choked on the wiener, and so her panic and trying to get this wiener out of me, trying to get this Vienna sausage out of my throat. And I'm like, I can't believe she said that to me. And it's like those little memories that you have that you hold on to that you don't even know. And it's like I used to go to Nan's house so I could have Tang, because I wasn't allowed to have Tang at home. And I could have Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies, and I could have bologna sandwiches, and I could have all these things. And so the love, that commitment to love, that is the greatest thing that we have, because her commitment to loving us and loving her family and my grandfathers was greater than anything else in this world. And the biggest thing that I can tell you that I've learned from this life, or that I got in writing as I'm writing my 6th book, was that my grandparents told me, just find that sense of be content. Find that place within you. Just be content. What are you seeking and searching? Because whatever you're searching for outside of yourself, you're never going to find it. Be at peace with you. Be at peace with who you are, what you are, the body that you're blessed in. And it doesn't mean we refine it or do the work that we need to do. But when you ask yourself, what are you hungry for? Really ask your soul, what are you hungry for? Why do I keep doing these things? Or what am I really hungry for? What am I really seeking? Or what am I thirsty for? And what do I lack? Why do I not give myself the satisfaction of the thirst, of satisfying the thirst, but I'll satisfy the hunger, right? And so those things start to change. And so the greatest thing that I can tell you for this new moon energy, and what became magical for me, was about being able to make peace and to let go of so much of the other thing. But how I found it was really by remembering love. And my Aunt Sheila's here. She was my idol. She's older than me. She's 10. I think we're 10 years apart, right, Sheila? So my Aunt Sheila always wore, and I remember this as a little girl, I always wanted to be like that hippy dippy. I loved her style because we were in the 70s, right? So she wore like these long dresses, and she had long socks that had the toes that were like fingers, and she had these long necklaces that she would wear, and she had long sleek hair, and she'd get all dressed up and she'd go off with her friends, and I'm like, oh, I just idolized her. And so when she would leave the house, I would go up and put on like her socks or her jewelry, and I'd stand on the bed and I'm like, I'm just gonna be like Aunt Sheila. And I knew she'd get pissed off at me because I was in her room again. But it's those, and so finding those memories and those moments of those things in your life that you actually, and so a lot of my style and who I am at the core of me was actually from the way that my Aunt Sheila dressed when she was young. Right. And then you look at the power. So my strength and my determination, I know, is a big part of like my Aunt Louise. My Aunt Vera, I share her name. There's a softness and gentleness to my Aunt Vera. That's just like my heart, just like, it's like there's a softness. There's something that is soft, and you can be strong and still be soft. To be strong don't mean you got to be and pushful and forceful. There's strength, there's softness. To be strong and to be soft is a great character trait that really truly will take us places that we don't even know it can take us. And that's where we find the kindness in our hearts. So I'm asking for each and every one of you, as you step forward in this coming days, in this coming times, the world it's not going to be easy. We're definitely being met with challenges. We're definitely going to be met with, changes and dismantlings, but just coming back to that place of find the contentment and the peace within you. It's not about the world being peaceful. It's about picking up the pieces of you, the nuggets, and then work from that. Hold that while you still allow yourself to do the work that needs to be done. And it'll be amazing how much different it'll be. And get your little cuddle buddy to all the ones that I was speaking of, where you just need to be able to nurture, feel. And when I'm doing distance healing with people, this is actually what I use. This is what I use. So I tap in, I'm a vessel, the energy flows through me, and I use the bear. So I'm going to give you couple little keys. And so I'm doing this right now because this is for my Aunt Louise right now. I'm holding you, Aunt Louise. So this is me sending healing, sending love to the hearts and to all of my family at home right now. But this is, when you hold the bear, if you cover your eyes, it just shuts out the world. So you just take your hands and lay them over your eyes and just breathe in. If you feel yourself getting anxious or worked up, it's just cover your eyes and just shut out the world. Cover your ears. Your ears are the shape of a fetus. So this is the essence of the fetus. And so by covering your ears, right, it actually closes everything out and it lets you come inward, because silence is how we're able to hear. The quieter we are, the more we quiet our mind and we quiet ourselves and we get just present in the now, we can actually hear. And then the third eye, and I teach this when I'm teaching my Reiki training stuff, and through your third eye and the head is front and back, and just being able to just like close your eyes and open up your third eye, because your human eyes will always lie to you. The third eye, when clear, gives you that clear vision to be able to imagine. Imagine peace. Imagine contentment. Imagine that sense of spirit is with us. Being able to see, and I'm clairvoyant, so I can see spirit, I can see them walking around, but I also see all the signs. I see a flower blooming that no one else might not notice. I see a little, I've picked up a ladybug. I walked outside yesterday and there was a live ladybug outside my door, walking around outside my door. And I'm like, really? How did you? So it must have been somewhere where it was staying warm and then the sun was shining and it was able to, and I'm like, it was a ladybug outside, live in the winter. That's not just coincidence. Those are signs. That's the essence that anything is possible, right? And then to the heart, lay your hands upon the heart. And so placing my hands on the heart of each and every one of you tonight and just sending this beautiful healing love, and from my heart to your heart, through this vessel, through source, through spirit, is that right here, right now, just breathe in. I ask you all to just breathe in. And to just feel this energy. Feel this love as we send love. Feel this through your heart. As we hold the hands, our hands are the healing hands. Through our hands comes the same beautiful healing energy as even the Jesus energy. We just have to let it flow through and just feel it just flowing through. We all are a vessel. We all flow through this light, and we just let this light travel through. And as crazy as it may seem to sit with a teddy bear, that energy, that holding, to be present. And then just rub down, brush off your body of all of the energies of today, of all the old energies. And so and then we work solar plexus and sacral and feet. So to feel it's not crazy. No, it's not. I know, Kathy. And then to hold our feet, that's grounding. And whoever was holding my grandfather's feet when he was in the hospital, I don't know who was with him. He just told me that. Whoever was holding his feet when my grandfather was in the hospital, whoever was holding his feet, whoever was at his feet, or my grandmother, whoever was at the feet, whoever was holding the feet, it works. And so the feet ground us. And just let this beautiful healing just ground us tonight, to be grounded here. Bring us back to center, to be right here, right now. To be in the experience, to be in the moment. Right here. And then just give yourself that little hug. As I give you all the virtual hug, I send each and every one of you love, light, and I send you all healing energy tonight. And I'm so thankful that you've stayed until the end. I always say stay till the end. Stay till the end. At the end of our journeys, at the end of cycles, at the end is when we see the true essence of who we really are. The strength, the courage, the love, the essence that we are is so innate within us. We are all light. We are all love. We all have the essence of that beautiful soul that was perfect. It's perfection. And seeing ourselves as we are that perfection. We are that love. We are that light. We just have to return to that within us. Shut out all the distractions. Turn them off. And let yourself come into you. Come home to you. Stop being a visitor. And be present with you. It's a beautiful journey. And it's one I'm so thankful that I've taken this healing journey to allow myself to start becoming more of the light and love, to be more like those that I remember. If there's anyone on earth that I would love to be, that I could say that I knew to be the closest to that Jesus energy for me, I would have to say it would have to be my grandmother and my grandmother. And so be that kind, be gentle, be all of that to you. When you become it to you, you'll become it to everyone else around you. I just didn't want to not be kind. And so be in that, be the best human being that we can be. That's what we're here to be. So much love. Love you all. Thank you for joining me again tonight. Now I have to head off to other things and finish my office and do those things. I love you all. Have a beautiful night. I love you, Aunt Louise. And Aunt Sheila and Aunt Vera. I love you guys. And I love everyone. And Betty. Dude, that's my family, guys. Have a beautiful night. And we'll see you soon.